What's up, everybody? It's Minister Crush here, and I want to welcome you to my 365-day challenge. Today is day 41, and the thing I want to talk about is in the book of Genesis, it talks about the story of Joseph and how Joseph had a dream, and his dream was that his brothers and his parents were going to bow down to him. He had a dream that um, there was sheaves of wheat, and the sheaves of wheat that represented his brothers were bound down to the sheaf of wheat that was him, represented him. And he was already the favorite. He was already Jacob's favorite son, and he was given a coat of many colors, and so his brothers already had jealousy on him, and now he's telling them that he's going to, I guess, lord over them is what they were getting. They were getting at, like, oh, you're going to lord over us? We're going to bow down to you? You're already the favorite. And in that, his brothers started to become jealous, and they started to become envious of him. Which this point goes to tell me you can't always share your dreams with everyone. If God gave you a dream, a grand dream, a dream that's so big that only God can help pull it off, it can only be done by God. God can only pull this off. And he gives you a 15 by 11 dream, a 15 by 11 dream this big. You can't share it with a 5 by 7 mind. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to understand it. And they're going to be envious of you. They're going to be jealous of you. They're going to speak negativity to you and tell you can't do it. They're not gonna be fully get behind you because they can't see the dream, because this is all they can see. The dream is this big, but this is all they can see. And in this mindset, they have you put in this box when God is putting you in a box that's so grand, that's so big. So everybody does not need to know what your dream is. You don't have to share that with everyone. And you can tell who has a 5 by 7 mind. You can tell by how they talk, how they interact. If every time you get with them is negativity, you working with someone who has a 5 by 7 mind. Every time you get with someone, they have something negative to say about someone else, you have a 5 by 7 mind in your presence. Too many of us have our road dog as a 5 by 7 mind. Our homegirl is a 5 by 7 mind. And God is growing us, and now he's growing us and giving us a 15 by 11 by 15 mind. Now he's giving us something far greater than what we used to be, because there was a time we had a 5 by 7 mind, but we are growing. But just because you're growing does not mean everybody else is growing with you. So he shared that dream. They became so envious of him that they plotted to kill him. The thing about it is, they plotted to kill him, instead threw him in a pit, because Reuben did not want to kill him. Reuben's the oldest brother. He did not want to kill him. And Judah was the one that was like, well, let's sell him. We can't make no money off of him. If we kill him, we'll sell him. So they ended up selling him, and he ends up in Egypt, in Potiphar's house. Now let's look at this. I want us to understand and see in the story of Joseph a thing that I think a lot of people miss. Everybody wants to be Joseph in the dream. Everybody wants to be Joseph at the end, second in charge of all of Egypt. But the reason why God gave Joseph that dream. The reason why it showed his brothers bowing down to him was not just because he was second in charge of Egypt in the end. Not just because the famine came and he was able to save his family during the famine. It was because Joseph was the only one out of the brothers that can go through what he had to go through to be the second in command. When you don't understand, especially when we look at them, the brothers are the nation of Israel. They're blessed too. Judah is Israel, and his sons were the nation of Israel. And they're plotting evil devices because they have a 5x7 mind. Their mind is so small, they don't see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that, yes, when all is said and done, you will want to bow down to your brother because he did all of this. He went through all this. See, y'all are not able to go through what Joseph had to go through. Y'all couldn't do it. Y'all couldn't handle it. No, Judah, you was not able to be in jail. Reuben, you were not able to handle yourself in Potiphar's house. Because when Potiphar's wife came along, some of y'all would have failed. So when y'all went into prison, some of y'all would have failed. Joseph was the one that had the understanding and the obedience to God to, even in the pit, I ain't turn my back on God. Even as a slave in Potiphar's house, I ain't turn my back on God. Even when Potiphar's wife came upon me and tried to force herself on me, I didn't turn my back on God. Even when Potiphar got upset, knew the situation, probably knew that I would not do what she said I'd do. Otherwise, if I did what she said I did, he wouldn't have threw me in prison. Potiphar would have killed me. He had the right within if I did the heinous acts that she claiming that I did, the right to stone me to death by law. He knew Joseph didn't do it, so he threw him in prison instead. And that was just a way for him to save face. Joseph did not turn his back on God. In prison, Joseph encountered two people, the cupbearer and the baker. But not the candlestick maker. I'm gonna quit. All right. The cupbearer and the baker. Both of them had a dream. Joseph took those dreams to God, and God revealed to him what the meaning of those dreams were. The cupbearer had a dream about grapes, squeezing it into the king's cup, and the king was drinking the cup, which Joseph told him, in 3 days, you're going to be restored back to your post as the cupbearer of the king. The baker saw that and was like, oh, well, let me tell you about my dream. My dream, I had a basket of loaves of bread, and the fowls of the air just came and plucked the loaves off my head. They were on top of my head, and they just ate the loaves off the top of my head. And Joseph was like, oh, in 3 days, you're going to be killed. The king is going to hang you in 3 days. But because of the cupbearer got such a good report, Joseph said, remember me when you get restored. And of course, just as he said, in 3 days, the cupbearer was restored. The baker was killed, beheaded, or hung, or whatever happened. He died. And the cupbearer forgot Joseph. But still, Joseph did not turn his back on God. He time and time again, if we were in his Joseph situation, we would have been upset. We would have forgotten. All this stuff happened and we did nothing. We are innocent in all of it. But because Joseph never turned his back on God, in Potiphar's house, he was risen to second in charge. As a matter of fact, he was really in charge of everything. Potiphar needed to worry about nothing. Joseph had it. And we talking about a boy who was 17, 18. I don't know how long. I know he was in between being captive in slavery and in prison was about roughly about 9 to 13 years. So, because he was 30 when he got into the king's palace. So I don't know how long he was in Potiphar's house, and I don't know how long he was in prison, but it was 13 years in total. But even in Potiphar's house, he was risen to be in charge, to be in charge of everything over the house. He even told Potiphar's wife, your master has put me in charge. He's withheld nothing from me except you. Then he was thrown in prison. Even in prison, he was raised to be in charge of the prison. The warden, the guard of the prison, everything was, Joseph got it. Joseph got it. When you are faithful to God, he blesses you even in the pit. He blesses you even in slavery. He blesses you even in prison. He blesses you no matter where you are. He blesses you. Then the king started having dreams. And the cupbearer finally remembered Joseph and said, oh, there's a man in prison by the name of Joseph who interprets dreams. Because the king could not find anybody to interpret his dream. And finally, Joseph was taken out of prison, brought to the king, and he interpreted the king's dream that there's going to be 7 years of abundance and plenty and 7 years of famine. So how can we save the kingdom? And not just the kingdom, but all the nations. And Joseph came up with a plan because the king was like, well, you're the smartest person in our kingdom. You tell us what we need to do. So in those years of abundance, we are going to save. We're going to save a percentage of what we get. 20% of what we get, we're going to save. And so in the years of famine, we will have enough to feed the people. Part of the people that were actually a part of that was Israel. Jacob and his sons were a part of those people that were caught up in the famine. Because they have a 5x7 mind, if they would have killed Joseph, they would have killed themselves. They killed their own blessing if they would have killed Joseph. But because Joseph was faithful to God, he did not see the big picture. He did not understand everything that was going through, but he knew that God gave me a dream that my brothers were going to bow to me. And at this moment, they ain't bowing. They throwing me in a pit. They ain't bowing. They selling me off into slavery.